Welcome to Did You Know, the ESCO HVAC podcast, the show where we explore the cool, the hot, and the everything in between of the HVACR industry. Each week, we dig into the innovations, the insights, and the inspiring stories that power our trade, from the classroom to the job site and beyond. This episode is brought to you by this week's amazing sponsors: Daikin Comfort Technology, perfecting the air since 1924. Lincoln Tech, put your potential to work. NAVAC, professional tools and equipment for HVACR technicians. Amitral Trainers, globally impactful, personally empowering. As well as A-Gas, together we can. Whether you're just getting started or you've been turning wrenches for decades like myself, there's always something new for us to learn. I'm Clifton Beck, and this is Did You Know, the ESCO HVAC podcast. Let's dive in. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Did You Know, the ESCO HVAC podcast. So today we're spending some time with Sam and Steven from Hitachi. Guys, how's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
How are you guys?
I'm doing wonderful. It's decent weather outside, and looking forward to an up and coming weekend. We've had some really hot weather, and it's hopefully going to cool down a little bit. And kind of leads us into today's scenario. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about home and comfort and solutions, and in particular, we're going to dive into the Hitachi Air Home products and get a little bit more comfortable with heating and cooling comfort. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Sounds like a great plan. Let's do it.
All right. Well, we can always talk about like technology. I think that's a great place to start. We know that Hitachi was like the industry first brushless DC compressor back in 1983. So Hitachi is not new to the inverter realm and to the comfort realm. And along the way, you've been building products and building the air home kind of comfort system, the ecosystem of its own. So let's talk about what's happening in that realm.
So, I mean, as you know, right, we've obviously been around the inverter technology, VRF, DFS, for since the 80s, I believe. That's if I can recall. Hitachi itself has been around for 100-year plus. They started back in the 20s, I think 1920s. But so obviously Hitachi has always been an innovator, right? We developed some of the critical stuff. I don't want to say we were the first to develop this inverter technology. I don't know if that's an accurate statement, but we do know for a fact that we were the ones to develop things like the scroll compressor, which obviously in a lot of these new technologies with the DFS or VRF, they're using these type of compressors. We developed one of the first pack systems similar to the rack systems, a lot of like new IDUs, like 4-way cassettes, a lot of these indoor units that are being used as of today. So we've been a lot of the new innovations when it comes to these products, right? And we know here, obviously in North America, we use this opportunity with the new A2L transition to develop our new lineup called Air Home. That I think we've developed it. We kind of fine-tuned that line card to be able to tie in specifically to those residential markets. That is the reason why we call this Air Home product our rack products. Rack meaning residential air conditioning. So that's kind of a little bit of a background on this, right? Yeah.
One of the cool things that we're seeing is heating capacities. Like some of the systems are doing, minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit with 100% capacity in that 800 series. So can you tell us a little bit more about the 400, 600, and 800 series products?
So we've done a substantial amount of analyzing, I guess, the market in general, right? We kind of try to see what kind of products we can bring in to fit in different categories of the market, right? Whether it's based on comfort cooling, whether it's based on heating or cooling zone regions, right? Whether it's south, central, north regions, different type of aspects of customers, right? Depending on the features that they want, depending on what specifications that they're requesting, depending on kind of aesthetics and the feel of the product. So we've done a substantial analysis, and this is why we came up with different tiers of the Air Home, right? So as you mentioned, we have the tier of the Air Home 400, we have the Air Home 600, and we have the Air Home 800, right? So meaning is Air Home 400 kind of ties into more of the, we don't want to call it an entry level tier, but I guess we can start it as, technically it is considered an entry level tier. So it's more applying to those kind of region, zone 1, zone 2 regions. And it's applying to those more customers that are kind of focused more on kind of budget savings, but still want a good product, right? You still get some of those decent features and technologies. Now you move on to the higher tier, like the 600. It's more applying to those cold climate regions, right? As we were discussing, it's a cold climate heat pump, applying to more of those regions 3, regions 4s, right? To be able to tie into those customers, but at the same time, also improving the features and the benefits of the product. So being a little bit more on the standard cost, right? Kind of in household income. Then you go into the higher tier products, right? For those that say, you know what, I want the best of the best. Then you go with the Air Home 800. So you get best of everything, right? Cooling, best of heating, best of the features, best of the appearance, best of, I mean, you name it, you know, even your own handheld remote controllers, everything just comes in a premium setup for those products. So again, cold climate has been a very big thing that heat pumps always lacked previously, right? And as we know, right, that was one of the doubts within the mini split world, right? It was, hey, you know, can they really heat down to those cold temperatures, right? I'm still comfortable using my furnace, or I'm still comfortable using my conventional air handler unit. Well, we've kind of tackled that by improving our products to operate to operations down to -13 in our standard tier product, and even as low as -22F in our higher tier products that can still provide 100% heating down to those -4F, -5F temperatures. So a little bit of a background there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy the way that we've been able to, you know, advance the equipment to produce that amount of heat at those lower ambient temperatures. You know, when we're talking about like some of those options as we start getting into the higher tier products, one I thought was very interesting was the FrostWash. Tell me a little bit about that feature.
Yeah, I'll speak on that feature of FrostWash. So that's one of our key things that we patent. We're the only ones that have the true FrostWash. What we did with our 410A, which was our previous product, then we came out with this new R32 product. And with the old 410A, we still had the great benefit of the FrostWash and got rid of about 99% of bacteria, meaning molds and bacterias and stuff like that. But Sam, being our DFS product engineer, he wanted to take it another step further. So by taking that another step forward with our R32 product, we incorporated at the very beginning of it, it is a hot sequence of, it's going to now heat the indoor heat exchanger to harden up all of those oils and stuff that we just produce as human beings, right? We have oils that are coming off of us in the skin and stuff like that. We shed, right? So we are now going to use that heating part at the beginning of it, and we're going to harden up all of those oils and stuff like that. And then we're going to go into the freezing part where we freeze the entire heat exchanger. Then we go into a melting part of it where we wash all of that off. With the 400, it's a manual, right? So they still get that same type of benefit, even though it's at like Sam kind of referred to it as an entry tier. It's manual, so the customer has to manually put it in that feature.
Put it in cross-wash mode.
That's correct.
Okay.
When you get to the 6 and the 800, it's auto.
Okay.
So it's based off of run hours of that equipment.
Oh, sure.
Also, with the 600 and the 800, not only does it auto frost wash the indoor heat exchanger, we're even concentrating on your outdoor heat exchanger.
Oh,
so we'll do
really?
frost wash on your outdoor heat exchanger as well, if you're in those temperature guidelines in order to do it. So during the summertime, if it's really hot outside, the system itself recognizes, hey, it's hot. I can't go into this certain feature for the outdoor frost wash because then I would start losing control of the space that I'm trying to condition. So it will set that off until it gets into those temperatures, and then it will execute that. Also, with what we enhanced on the outdoor frost wash is what we call DuraSpin. So we know that we get grass clippings when we mow our yards. There could be construction or just a storm goes by and we have all this dust in the air. Well, all that dust gets trapped into that heat exchanger.
Sure.
If I was to freeze that and then melt it off, that dust now turns into mud. So
Mm.
with Duraspin, we run the fan motor backwards at a high rate of speed and blow out all of that loose particle, dust, and dirt. Then
Very
it will
cool.
freeze that heat exchanger and wash it off. Because the last thing we want to do is create a problem. We're trying to help with cleaning the heat exchanger. By the indoor frost wash as well as the outdoor frost wash, that's where we separate ourselves in the industry out there of maintaining our SEER rating and our efficiencies on that type of equipment. So most people at homes, they never clean their heat exchangers, right? And with the indoor frost wash, the old way of cleaning your indoor heat exchangers was getting that big blue bag that you put up underneath that fan coil. And now I'm introducing all this
Water,
water into
solvent.
somebody's house
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
wall. Me as a homeowner, I'm like, wait a minute, what do you
Yeah.
got going on here? That looks very scary and a potential accident waiting to happen.
Well, that's been one of the biggest concerns as we're trying to encourage customers and even ourselves to go to ductless systems is the maintenance on them, right? It's a different maintenance type of work. And for some applications, it's a difficult procedure, especially if we're introducing water into an area where we definitely don't want to take any chances. We put a ductless system into, a room that's got computers, got electronics. One of the last things I want to do is tell my customer that I'm bringing a garden hose in, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Just the thought of it gets
Right.
gets scary to people. And so that has been an obstacle in the industry. And I love how we're doing the reverse airflow on the outdoor unit. I can remember, as a refrigeration technician, one of the first times I encountered that, I had a small Coca-Cola cooler. I think it was manufactured by Beverage Air at the time. And it had a reversing condenser fan on it. And I can tell you, in comparison to the rest of the equipment sitting right next to it, that condenser very rarely needed cleaning in comparison to the traditional coils. So adding that extra maintenance feature is a huge asset over things that don't use that technology. So kudos for doing that on the outdoor and using the FrostWash on both sides. I mean, that saves a lot in the maintenance side of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so let's talk about some of the connectability too as well with the Air Home.
Our entry product has optional interfaces for end users, so it doesn't come with the unit. Again, it's an entry tier product, right? But it is an optional accessory you can purchase. Now, all our units do come with their own handheld remote controller right out of the box, right? So there's no issues there. So they'll be able to control and do whatever they need to do with the system from that standpoint. But if they want to be able to control this product from anywhere around the world, right, we have our own proprietary Wi-Fi app, or we call our AirCloud Go. So for the entry tier, it's an optional accessory. For the mid tier and high tier, it comes standard with the units. And these apps are a little bit unique. They're a little bit different than what you see out in the market. I can name a couple of points. So the apps, of course, most do have Amazon Alexa, so they do have that integration in them. Of course, you can control the system anywhere on the world as long as you have that Wi-Fi connectivity of the system in your home. But they also have other neat features, like they have an energy monitoring system, right?
Oh,
Now, I'm
very
not going to
cool.
say you're going to use that as a billing feature, but you can
Right.
use that to be able to give you an
Track
estimate of
usage.
how much energy you're consuming
Right.
throughout the month or the day or the week. Because a lot of us, right, we know AC systems or HVAC systems pull a lot of energy for most of your electrical consumption throughout the month, the day, or the
Right.
week. So if you feel like, hey, if I'm hitting 68, 69 F cooling, right, and I'm wasting, let's say, 30 kWh, kilowatts per hour, right, a month. But if I keep it at 72, yes, I'm sacrificing a little of my comfort, but I'm keeping now at 20 kWh
Yeah.
every month. You're saving a big chunk on your electrical bill, and you're able to verify that using that AirCloud Go app. Additionally, it has something like energy efficiency soft part of it, which what it does is it has what's called a geofencing, or they call it geofencing location.
Mm-hmm.
So based on whether you're coming from home or leaving home, right, whether you're going to work or going to school or coming back, going to the grocery store, etc., the system is going to adjust your temperature to be able to give you that extra bump in energy efficiency, right?
Oh,
So let's
nice.
say you have it in cooling mode and you go to work and it knows you're going to be gone for 8 hours, right? It's based on a certain radius of your location to the system. Then it'll adjust it by 2 degrees, 3 degrees higher in cooling, just so you're saving that energy. And as soon as you start coming back, it'll adjust it again. So as soon as you walk in your door, you're back to your set point. You're comfortable. You didn't even realize the system changed, but you're saving money at the same time. So our AirCloud Go app has a lot of those neat features integrated, and as well as being able to control FrostWash and all that good stuff, you can do it through the app as well. So those are some of the neat interfaces that we have for the users using our. Yep.
I love having the analytics like that. You know, if you think about that as a homeowner, right? You know, hey, Billy, when I get home from work every day, this house seems awfully cold. And are you messing with this thermostat during the? No, I'm not.
Never touched it.
No. Then you pull the report and you go, oh, why is our KW usage going up at 2 p.m. every Monday through Friday and going back down at 4:30 before I get home, right?
Right. And how many of us have left our homes and thought, as we're 2-3 miles down the road,
did I change it?
I still left it at 68 degrees. It's going to automatically make that adjustment when it sees looking through that eye sensor in the bottom left-hand corner. Oh, there's nobody in the room.
Right.
And it's going to make those adjustments. Plus, with the geofencing, it's seeing that you have left that area, that radius that it's monitoring.
Very, very cool. I know another feature that I'd seen, which I have not encountered in other ductless systems, is when we get into air filtration, even some of the carbon filter you're utilizing in air filtration. Tell me a little bit about that one.
Yeah, I could tackle it. Yeah, so we do have carbon filters and stainless steel mesh filters, all with standard with our mini split products, right?
Oh, okay.
So carbon filters, as you know, it's removing about those small micron particles.
Yeah.
So again, on top of the FrostWash, you're getting an extra bump in that indoor air quality using this carbon filter on the indoor side. So you're able to get a lot of the bacteria, you're able to get a lot of the viruses, a lot of the mold, a lot of that stuff gets kind of taken care of from the carbon filter side as well as from the FrostWash. So you're kind of doing like a double-sided kind of sword, right? You're taking care of both ends. You're tackling it from both sides. Additionally, we have the stainless steel filter, which is pretty neat because, you know, a lot of these filters, right, you know, usually you have to take them out, and as soon as you take them out, they get damaged, and when you start cleaning them, they get damaged, and et cetera, and then you have to replace it. That's more cost for the end users. With these filters, stainless steel, they're sturdy enough, right, that you can just throw them in like a dishwasher.
No way.
And you can just throw them in there. They'll clean them. You'll clean them. They won't get damaged. And then you can dry them up, put them back into your unit, and you're ready to go.
Do you know how many of these? I was a service tech here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex for 20 years. Yeah. You know how many of these I've had to replace because we've washed them out a couple times, and now they got big holes going through them. This is all stainless steel. So, I mean, you can flex this thing, twist it all up. You're not damaging any of that steel. You can throw these in your washing machine and clean them off yourself, and then slide them all right back in. And then this is the spot that little carbon filter piece is going to go through.
Excellent. All right, I want one. Where can we learn more about Hitachi Air Home?
So you can come to my facility here that we're doing this podcast from in Irving, Texas. We're about 15 minutes away from DFW Airport, which is one of the main hub airports in North America. I offer classes. We have all this product. I have a 5,000 square foot lab that we have all of our residential, light commercial, as well as our 3-phase commercial. We have our air to water. We have all of our equipment in my lab. I teach classes on these on a weekly basis. And so we invite anybody to come down. You can go and sign up for training on VRF Pro. So it's my training website. You make an account on there and you can sign up for any classes. Come down here to Texas and give us a visit.
All right. And I can personally vouch for that. I've been down there. It's an amazing facility. I encourage you all to check it out and learn more at HitachiAirCon.com. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.